This presentation is to accompany the book Consumer Behavior, a Primer by Gail. To understand the consumer's behavior, we need to understand them as members of groups. Let's begin by taking a look at the group behavior of other species. Here are fish in schools. And here are birds in flocks. The synchrony of the behavior of birds in flocks and fish in schools is breathtakingly beautiful. And it's amazing when we realize that these synchronized behaviors are not the result of top-down organized commands. The synchronized behaviors are the result of each member following some very simple rules. These rules include: each individual only looks out for itself. All the individuals are aware only of their nearest neighbors. All the individuals are attracted to each other, but maintain a small distance apart. When a predator comes, get out of the way.
This is from a BBC show called Predators, and what we're looking at here are examples of synchrony that have to do with defense. When you're small and vulnerable, like these starlings or like the fish, it helps to swarm to avoid predators, to confuse predators. Let me just be quiet for a second because this is so gorgeous. For a long time, biologists were puzzled by this behavior, wondering how it could be possible. We're so used to choreography giving rise to synchrony. These creatures are not choreographed.
Synchrony can even occur with inanimate objects. The performance of human waves is an example of synchronized behavior.
2, 3, go!
Consumer membership in groups form a network. In their book, Connections, Nicholas Christakis and James Fowler report the following interesting observations. This is a regular lattice network that occurs in nature, say for example in crystals. This is a social network that occurs among people. It looks very different from the regular lattice network that occurs in crystals. These are all carbon atoms, but their connections form different networks. The difference in structure results in one network being graphite and the other being a diamond. Connections do matter. Christakis and Fowler identified obesity clusters in consumer social networks. The yellow dots are individuals who are classified as morbidly obese. The dots are in proportion to size. Christakis and Fowler sifted through the data in the social networks and discovered that the probability that a person is obese increases the closer they are to an obese person. So a friend of an obese person is more likely to be obese than a friend of an obese person. The probability diminished noticeably after 3 degrees of separation, or the friend of the friend of the friend of the obese person. So why do obese people seem to cluster together in social networks? One explanation is that obese people somehow cause other people around them to become obese. Another explanation is that obese people seek out other obese people. A third possible explanation is that an outside factor, like being surrounded by fast food outlets and having no avenue for exercise, causes obesity. While all of these can be possible explanations, Christakis and Fowler believe that the occurrence of obesity clusters occur because obese members of a social network influence the norm by redefining acceptable body fat composition for the group members. Obesity becomes the norm. Christakis and Fowler found not only obesity clusters in social networks, they also found happiness clusters in social networks. They found clustering in other behaviors as well, such as smoking, drinking, voting, inventor ideas. A member's position in his or her social network makes a difference. For example, B and D are in the same social network, but have different numbers of friends. B has 4 friends, and D has 6 friends. A and B have the same number of friends. They both have 4 friends. But A has strong network ties. He has friends who all know him and each other. And B has weak network ties. He has friends who know him, but not each other. If you wanted some help to move your belongings from your current home to a new one, you would want to be A, because everyone knows everyone else, and you could call all the group members together to help you. If you want to come up with different ideas to solve a problem, you would want to be B, because each person has unique information. Studies have been conducted investigating the relationship between success and social networks. The results show that Broadway shows with social networks where no one knows each other tend to fail. Broadway shows with social networks where everyone knows one another also tend to fail. In social networks where some people knew each other and some didn't, Broadway shows tended to be successful. Same thing has been found with other groups such as research groups. It's all about interaction in and among social networks. The average person has 11 to 12 intimate contacts, 150 social contacts, and 500 to 1,500 weak ties. This advertisement is referring to a popular parlor game, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. For this game, you name any actor and then name a series of movies that will link the actor to Kevin Bacon. It turns out that the chain of movies is 6 movies or less. You can visit the site and give it a try. Not just Kevin Bacon, but consumers in general are separated from each other by about 6 degrees. Indeed, it is a small world after all.